Hello, my dudes. Did you ever want to own one of those beauties, but you were like, they're expensive? Because I did. And I used to think it's impossible because the vintage ones are expensive and the reproduction ones are crap. So I thought to myself, well, it's basically just white shoes with black pieces. So like, how hard can it be, right? Saddle shoes are the kind of shoes that were worn... Is my computer making noise? Shut up. That were worn in 1940s in like sporty situations, and then in 1950s, and they were basically sort of like a sport style shoes that were very popular among younger women, let's say students and teenagers and people like that, but they were also worn by stars, and they were basically kind of like casual shoes. So for me, they're kind of a perfect balance between like vintage shoes and something comfy that's not high-heeled. So here's what you need in order to make those. You need those cheap-ass sneakers slash, I don't know what to call them, like just have a look at them, analyze what type of shoe that is in your native language, and you'll basically probably get it. I don't know about you, but in Poland they're quite common. For at least, I think, 10 years, they're like the most easily accessible types of sport shoes there are. And you can get them in usually the cheaper type of shoe shops. Like, they're kind of like those Chinese shoes that you probably will have to throw away after like 2 months, but why not? I've been wearing mine for like at least 1.5 years. So apart from those shoes, you'll need 2 markers. I mean, one could do, but if you want to be really precise, it's better if you get a thick one and then a thin one for those spots that are not that easily accessible. So the thick one is just your regular permanent marker. It's waterproof, so it should work if you want to, let's say, wash your shoes afterwards. I never had issues with my shoes before, and I used like just a regular permanent marker. I'm not sure how thick it is because it doesn't really say on it, but just like the lamest type you can get. And then I got a thin one as well, which also doesn't really say the size apart from the letter F, which I guess should say something to me. So I bought it for those spots that are going to be quite hard to get to with the thick one. And that's basically all you need. When getting your sneakers, remember to look for the ones that are quite flat, like you don't want and also try getting ones with sort of like a front piece. So it should have the front seam because that makes it way easier to outline the black piece later. So ideally it should have the front piece. Sometimes they even have back piece separated, which also makes things easier. Remember about that when looking for your perfect saddle shoes. So first of all, we're going to get rid of the shoelaces because we don't want things to get messy. Then I mean, I actually accidentally found out that I do have the back piece on my shoe, but if you don't, you kind of have to guess where it is. Just try to make it symmetrical with the other shoe. So then I just started painting it with the marker. Obviously it's not gonna be like super black, so you might need to do it twice or just make sure it's actually fully covered. And I'm leaving all the spaces that are problematic, meaning I might easily spill some marker over it. So I'm just trying to avoid spaces like that because that's where I'm gonna go later with the thin marker. Then I'm taking the thin marker and I'm just filling in all the gaps and all the spaces that I haven't painted yet. With the top binding, you might want to kind of pull it up a bit so you can go underneath it, so then you don't really cover it with black marker, and even if you do, it's like the piece that's underneath, so it's okay. Same with like the front piece, you just might need to try and pull it up a bit. So this is how it looks. Yeah, this is how it looks. So the reason I'm also not using the big marker for the details is because it spills the paint a bit, and I don't want that to happen. So this is basically it. Like, you can stop here, but if you want to be super extra, you can try coloring the sole as well. Like I think my cat is urinating right now and making weird noises, but we're just gonna ignore that. So what I found out is it's easier to fill in the gaps in the white piece, the rubber piece, when keeping the marker sort of straight, if that makes sense. Just check out the video. It's a bit harder than it looks because of all the weird pieces that are not necessarily wanting to be painted. So then I left the top edge of the sole so I can fill it in with the thin marker. And you have to be extra careful because it's really easy to just get carried away and then you just cover your shoe with black marker, and this is what I did. But try not to fill it in completely, like leave the blank space between the edge and the actual shoe, like just 1 millimeter. So this is what the shoes look like. As you can see, the black is not really that black, but I think it doesn't really show that much in real life. And it's nice, it looks cool. Now I'm ready for my tennis game or like riding a bike or whatever it is they did in those shoes back in the 40s. Excellent framing. And that, ladies and gents, is how you make your own saddle shoes.